Howdy, friends.
Hello, and welcome to Syncretism.
Howdy, friends.
No, there you are, Santos. I wasn't sure if you...
No, there you are, Santos. I wasn't sure if you...
Go ahead.
I was waiting for you.
Yeah, we got a serious echo, so someone has to mute.
I'll do it. You go.
I'm thinking, Spirit Dancer, mute your mic out, if you can. There we go, check 1, 2. Okay, that's better. There we go, yeah, Spirit Dancer, yeah, Sandy, if you're running on speakers, it's going to loop everything in a time delay, so it's going to be like this really cool concert effect. So, anyway, Santo, go ahead, my friend, go ahead. Syncretism, your show.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Thanks for taking the board, too, and we've also got Sandra with us. Lovely. So, thanks for joining us, friends. Today we have the usual syncretic information, the good stuff, the big subjects, and I was just pondering the other day. I was thinking, why do I do what I do, and what am I doing? And yeah, and what is it that I'm doing? You know, because we are motivated by different things. Now, I'm motivated because I hear people say that they're motivated because they love people. I hear people motivated because they love this or the other. You know, I think about it from time to time, and when I do, I realize that I love the subject of true knowledge. I love truth. I love knowledge and truth. I don't want to learn things that are not true. You know, when I was a young boy, I used to go to the school library and, you know, learn things. I taught myself how a combustion engine works, so I used to go and grab all these lawn mowers and dismantle them and make sure I put the rings back, the compression rings back and everything, and all in the right place and all parts, missing no parts. I'd dismantle motors, put them back together again and everything. So the power of the mind, we love to learn, and we love to learn properly. Why would you learn something and it's just totally wrong? Now, so I realized that from a young age, I don't know why, but I was always in love with astronomy, languages, music, theology, and the fifth one would have to be anthropology / etymology. I love the origin of words and things. Why do we do these things? Where do they come from? Why do we have a cross? I used to look at the cross, and as a Jehovah's Witness, I used to think, damn, that's an evil-looking thing. I was trained to think of it as evil, you see. But then again, if I consulted my heart, there was cognitive dissonance there, because I know I also had the opposite feeling, that it had mystique and magic, and there must be some other reason for its existence. Why do all cultures have this symbol? The Christians, when they first arrived in Japan, or Marco Polo at least, found crosses everywhere in Japan. He found them in China. The conquistadores found them in South America, everywhere they went. And so you have this information that you've been taught, called education, and it's been drilled in your left brain, and so it's linear type sequential information rather than simultaneous information, which is right brain intuitive. So they put this sequential information in your mind, in your brain, and to store it there, and it's all wrong. And this is what creates cognitive dissonance, because in your heart of hearts, you've lived every life that has ever existed in the universe, being the divine one yourself. So you know in your heart of hearts that it's wrong. And yet we go along and we continue to perpetrate and perpetuate erroneous ideas from the education system. That's all going to change very soon as people start to awaken. As the intuitive right brain comes back into play, as it already is, in this beautiful age of Aquarius, that will go away, all that erroneous education. So we can be thankful for that. It's leaving, it's departing. And so being a very, very thankful person for the fact that I did my studies as an astronomer as a young boy, and I did my languages and all of that. I did all the hard yards. I'm very thankful because it's given me a broad understanding of things in this world, and theology and astronomy and astrology, etc. So I'm very, very thankful for that, and hopefully I can share that as much as possible with as many people as possible. And I have. And that is one of the most beautiful things, as you guys will know, and will concur. It's a beautiful thing to share, because as you love other people, that love returns. And that's not the motive. It's not the motive at all. It's unconditional love. When you find that, it is absolutely exquisite. So I'm motivated, I find myself being motivated by this, that I love uncovering truth and discovering truth and uncovering lies and exposing lies, you see. So this is what the show's all about, and the show that we bring to you is dealing with syncretism, because all subjects are one, and we are spreading light on this fact. The system likes to divide knowledge and wisdom and into all sorts of compartmentalized areas. You see, you can specialize in this kind of science, you can specialize in one thing and be an expert, and not have much knowledge about lots of other things, really. And you see this quite a bit with geniuses. You see, they specialize as a genius in one subject, and they're pretty hopeless in many, many others. So that's what this beautiful wisdom of syncretism does. And the reason I introduced today's show like this is that we have, I promised to bring the best information here, and we have all kinds of guests, and I don't judge the guests that I have on this show and the other shows that I do. When I speak, when I'm interviewed, I tell forth what I know and what I understand, and that is, I'm taking responsibility for that information. I don't want to be looked a fool in 20 years' time that I taught something really, really different and really, really unique, and it turned out to be fraudulent. I'm not getting a lot of airtime so that I can be one day reduced to, a liar and someone who spoke emptinesses to
a buffoon, right?
to the world. But on the other hand, I have guests and I don't judge them. My style of interviewing others when I interview others is to let them speak. I don't jump in and correct them and et cetera, et cetera. So I just want people to know that I really, really do. Yesterday's guest was quite a wonderful person. And yesterday's guest mentioned something that stumbled one or two people, I guess. Not necessarily stumbled, but it made people think. And what Jerry said yesterday was he spoke about Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ being his Saviour, etc., etc. Quite a bit about Jesus. And people... Now, the reason why I would not have to jump in and interfere with this beautiful story that was told yesterday, because the world knows that my view of Jesus Christ is that it is astrological purely, and I've proven it. And so Christ is the sun, it is the light of consciousness which is called the Word, it is sound. Jesus is a prophet, or the human counterpart of the Christ of astrotheology, which turns up from time to time, probably every 600 years on this planet, sometimes we call that one Buddha, sometimes we call that one Krishna, but every now and then that one's called Jesus. And these people are outstanding, these Jesuses. But these are human names. These are just names that we give to ourselves. Jesus is a beautiful name. It means the sun. And Christ being the sun, when an initiate graduates and is initiated and becomes a hierophant, they get a new name, and usually that name is Jesus or Krishna or Buddha. So some of the common epithets and some of the more commoner names for the divinity. And this is where the confusion comes in. There were obviously Jesuses that have lived, good prophets. They've been spotted in India and in Japan. 40 kilometres from my wife's native town in northern Japan is a grave to Syncretic, and I've stood on that grave and I have photographs of that. Syncretic is Jesus Christus. And in Kashmir, India, they've got a grave of Jesus and they account for his missing years, etc. Now, when people see visions of Jesus, I have friends who swear that they've seen Jesus. And I have relatives, aunties that come from that dark Calabria in Italy where Catholicism is very, very powerful. And those are still living, those aunties of mine that are here in Australia and have told me many times that they are familiar with these entities and these stories. So and they've seen archetypes and they've seen Jesus. Now, there was a stage when I, as a Jehovah's Witness, when I thought that they were demonized, or they were wrong and they were seeing visions, or I took a logical, cynical stance and my left brain, intellectual, the ration and the reason came in, and I would say to myself, I would argue, there must be a scientific explanation for it. There must be a chemical process in the mind whereby they see these things. And I could be right, but this is a wonderful, phenomenal universe that we live in, and many, many unusual things beyond our current platform of explanation that we can fathom. The platform that we are on cannot explain these miracles and phenomena and whatever. So people see archetypes, people see Jesus, and I don't deny that. I know they do. I've never seen these archetypes at all. I've had entheogens where I've seen many creatures and archetypal creatures, but I don't acknowledge those as Jesus. I acknowledge those as my brothers. But I can relate to these visions. Now, these are just archetypes. This is Jesus. This is in fact the archetype of Jesus, our bigger brother, our higher mind, our higher selves, that appears to us. You see, a sphere is an archetype. Now, if I see a sphere in a vision, I don't see the only sphere to the exclusion of all other spheres and all other, because I call my sphere Jesus. And someone in India sees Krishna and swears that they saw their Christ, their Krishna, in a vision, and it looked just like the Hindus depict. I can't deny them that they saw that. They have a name which is Krishna, I have a name which is Jesus. It's just a name. But the sphere that my friend saw and the sphere that I saw are archetypes, because there's not just one sphere in the universe. And so the reason I'm elaborating on this subject is that the more discerning of the listeners will not stumble at these things. In fact, I always use the name Jesus in my invocations and incantations and in my mantras. I love the name Jesus. I love the name Jehovah. and to have discovered that Jehovah is in the fixed signs of the zodiac without any help from any other book or entity, and yet I have been helped, because every other book that has ever been written was written by my own hand, because I participated in it, and you, the listener, did too. And one day when we arrive at this understanding more fully, we will be more, we will be much more a better humanity or divinity, wherever stage we're at, and we will be blessed as a result of acknowledging this. So, as for individuals that come on my show and talk about Jesus, their Saviour, I'm happy for them to do that, you know. I don't get stumbled, because I understand it's an archetype, and if they saw it as a real human being that they really understand to be the one and only Jesus, that's fine, because as little children believe in Santa Claus that came down their chimney, those illusions will one day dissipate, and anyone that comes on my show that believes in a personal Redeemer and Saviour that is the one and only Jesus, that's fine, that's the stage that they're at, and they will grow up. And that's the beautiful thing about nature. Kindergarten exists in our society because it is needed. It is, well, in this world it is anyway, but a school that is constructed to suit the mind of a child is necessary, because children exist. We are first children and then we become adults. So it's natural that we would be teaching children at a lower level in a different way, and then as the mind expands, we have grade 2, grade 3, then we have secondary school and tertiary school, etc., etc. And the same thing is with spirituality. First, we are taught that there is a man, that there is a greater person than we, that we can aspire to, and there's nothing wrong with this. This is a great model for children. These are training wheels on a push bike for children. You see, you give them the physical, historical, literal, sequential model, because they cannot. They're in the dimension that they have been born in. They cannot take in simultaneous information. And so, as the information is given to little children, you see, we tell them that that beautiful sweet fruit that they put in their mouth is called a nana. Would you like a nana? You know, and then we tell them that it's a banana. And then we go to school and we teach them that it's a fruit with some kind of a long Latin name, and it has fructose in it, and it's chemically got all of these nutrients and all of these elements, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and all of a sudden the banana becomes this field of information. There's a lot more about a banana than just the word nana. So we are all growing, people, and let's not be stumbled. I'm just inviting the listeners now, and I will conclude with this thought. I'm inviting the listeners to be as mature as you can, folks, and let's hear everybody out. When I was a Jehovah's Witness, we didn't give much time to the people that we visited uninvitingly, and we used to speak a lot at their doorsteps, you know, and that was our tactic. And it was a very, very Jewish proselyting style. The Jew would say that the reason why they were proselyting and speaking more than the others was so that they would not be convinced by the others. You see, because the more you listen, the more you learn. And when we listen to little children, we learn a lot about their little models of archetypes that they have. And the same goes true with people that are still trapped in churchgoer mentality. Not that I'm suggesting that my guests are. No way. None of them would be. But there's still a little bit of contamination, and there's still a little bit of churchgoer. And if we do encounter churchgoers in our lives, in our daily secular lives, we need to be equipped because they have archetypes and models which are very, very childish, and we can help them. And it needs great patience and love. Sometimes I do not have that love. I'm a very aggressive person. I'm a very angry person. And I've got a lot of energy, and it's a lot of heart energy. In fact, in my natal chart, Mars is in my Leo rising. So Mars is there on the ascendant rising, just above the horizon when I was born, in Leo, in the heart. So Leo is my ascendant sign, and I acknowledge that I have a lot of aggression there. I've always have. And so we are all at these at different levels, and I'm happy that I have this aggression too. By the way, I'm not at all displeased with it, because it's given me the impetus that I've needed to be able to present my information in order to have the effect of dismantling fictions, because that's what I'm going to do for the rest of eternity, whether people will like it or not. Now, I know I upset a lot of people, and a lot of people would love to have me out of the way. The naysayers in particular, because they are comfortable with their fictions. Their childish models suit them still. And but that's not the way of the truth teller. They don't go away that easily. So there's my invitation. I'm inviting folks to be as broad-minded as possible, and we, regardless of whether some people have erroneous ideas, it's great to hear those erroneous ideas, because nothing will ever dissuade you and misdirect you from the truth when you know the truth. My brother yesterday was speaking to me, and he told me that over the holidays he was visiting some of my relatives up in the where I was born, in Myrtleford, Victoria. And the Jehovah's Witnesses called. And my brother saw them from a distance, and he thought, okay. Because we were all raised Jehovah's Witnesses. This is my younger brother, by the way, where I'm living at the moment. He's next door at the moment. And he said to me last night a beautiful argument that he presented to the Jehovah's Witnesses, and that is, he said, you witnesses, I know you. I was a witness when I was a young boy, and you don't listen to other people, okay? You don't listen to other people, and there's a reason for that. And the reason you don't listen to other people is because, and you're too scared to read their publications, and you believe only you have got the truth, and you've got your blinkers on. There's something wrong with that, he said. There really is something wrong with that. If you can find a better deal out anywhere else, go and grab it. But if you have the best deal, what are you worried about? That you can't read, the Christadelphians' publications, the Mormons' publications. You can only go around spreading your own publications, and you won't even dare have a look at anybody else's ideas. And that's narrow-minded. That is dangerous thinking. That is very, very dangerous, because, it's like here we have a hardware department franchise in Australia called Bunnings. And Bunnings, they advertise a lot on the TV, and their motto is, if you can find it cheaper elsewhere, come and tell us and we'll beat that price. Bunnings are really boastful and confident that they've got the cheapest prices on any product, right? So, they're not really worried about the competition. So, so a good salesman, if he's got the best car, he's not worried that you're going to go down to another car yard and get tricked by someone else. He's confident that his cars are very, very good. So there's something wrong with having your blinkers on and not being in conversational mode when it comes to people that have other modalities of thinking. Because once upon a time we lived in a syncretic world, and that world's coming back. We lost it and fragmented it and compartmentalized it and divided and conquered it. But it's coming back to conquer us. Unity is coming back to conquer our minds. So we better, step in line. And it's irresistible. And so we need to prepare the fields that are our conscious minds with good soil for the seeds of unity. And that's what I'm inviting people to do. That's what I'm all about. And I will never divert from that path. So I promise to speak the best information I possibly can, and I promise to get the best guests on our show that we possibly can. And that's my commitment to the listeners.
Yeah, it's a good commitment.
Why not?
Yeah, and that's a lot of it too. You were talking earlier about why we do this, and that's one question that goes through my mind every day. And that is the weights and measures of self, right? Where you're, why exactly did I decide to do what I did that ended up destroying everything I loved and knew? Because I couldn't buy the old paradigms anymore. I couldn't stand back and watch, wars going on and children getting murdered and people getting abused, and you see all the videos of cops beating up people, and of course, the legal joke called the legal system, which is a joke upon itself, where effectively you've got lawyers and judges all working on the same team, and they're all trained to lie. Who wants to deal with those guys, right? And they lie so well that they'll even try to convince you that you're wrong when you're right, and what they're looking for is the consent of the mind and, of course, the heart, right? And what all anyone really has to do, Santos, and you know this, all anyone has to do is introduce just a little bit of doubt into somebody, and then, they can be overpowered. And that's one of the reasons why back in the summer I wrote an essay called, I should put it up on Freedom Reigns again, Behold a White Canvas, and always to be mindful of your own canvas. And we've had so many experiences in each of our lives that we, out of habit now, for most people, just take what is told of them verbatim, and they don't do any research. They assume it to be what, everyone else says it is, because it's not cool to not be in the ignorant crowd, right? And that's where people get their emotions played the most, I feel anyway. And I got to tell you, I'm a very easy being to both love and hate equally. One of the things, and I'm sure Tony and Sandy and yourself and so many others can relate to this, in that when you stand in a truth so strong, because truth is self-evident. So I'm not saying it's right because I'm saying it's right. It's just when you find a truth, you know it is. And the only commitment you have to make to yourself and no one else is, are you willing to stand in it? Are you willing to be a part of a system that is, creating and fomenting wars against other people just because they think it's a good idea, and they have you convinced that this flag is yours and that you have to kill other people to make sure it flies higher than everyone else's? It's just a really bad game of capture the flag, that involves human life. And, here we are for, millennia, maiming and killing each other based on beliefs that others have placed onto our canvases. And like I said last night when we were talking, what if you're following something else, you have been led to believe, right? As in the metal, whereas people like yourself and listeners and what have you, we have chosen to have gold to know. That's turning lead into gold, and that's, if you're going to believe something, be prepared to follow something. If you know something, you will know better. So, and getting back to the call last night, absolutely, and we had a good chat about this, the archetype aspect, and what people see as their representation of what they want to, or what they feel and resonate. And he had made a beautiful point earlier today with regards to we are creators, and of course you're going to create as a God, which you are, that which resonates with you, and of course those are the pictures that you are creating. The only question I ever bring up with regards to, and I've done a lot of research into it, and this is where Tony can definitely be helpful, more so than I, with regards to implants. And you've heard me talk many times about the reptilian brainstem, and that it is actually a 250 genome transceiver. It's a radio. And if you haven't got control of your higher mind, the reptilian brainstem is that one thing that separates your higher mind from your heart. And if you haven't got that under control and aware of it, and you've made it very clear how to do that, all you have to simply do to short it out is throw the tongue to the roof of your mouth. And you'll feel the electricity once you make that connection. It's physical. You'll feel it. You will feel it, I promise you, like a very mild 9-volt battery on the tongue test. But people, you have to, well, you can do whatever you want. What I say to myself is what I have to do is I have to make sure that my canvas is kept clean for me and only me to put on it that which I find to be self-evident, resonant truth. I don't need to be right, and I certainly don't need to be wrong, and the only difference, and I've said it many times, the difference between me and most people is I've just been wrong more times than most. And in that light, the truth became self-evident, because if you feel the need to be right, you are controlled by your ego, you are belligerent, and you are separating yourself from truth in that ego stance. When people can be willing to sit back and go, maybe I just don't know everything after all, and decide to have a look at it. And you made that very clear, Santo, with, if your faith is so perfect, why are you afraid to look at something else that might cause doubt for you? So it's not so perfect after all, eh? And we do have a caller. I'm not sure if they're calling in or just listening, so I can check if you would like. Yeah, for sure. All right. Caller, area code 661, first two numbers 74, area code 66174. Your mic is hot. Do you have any questions or comments, or are you just listening in?
Hello?
Yeah, you. Yeah, you, superstar. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. So do you have any questions or comments? And join the show, kind of have some fun with us? We're pretty inviting to you.
First of all, it's a pleasure to speak with you, Kate and Santos. This is Adam from Toronto. Just want to thank personally all of you guys. You guys are amazing. What you're doing for everyone out there is an indication of what's really going on in the world right now. So it's really wonderful to come across people like yourselves. And what I wanted to ask Santos is if he would ever wish to take what he's doing even further and create somewhat of a bigger social network, and start working with young people, perhaps in his community. Because I think for everyone who's out there listening, they still fear so many things, despite the fact that they hear the inner truth within them. But they will need persons like yourselves to take it to the next level, perhaps, and become more like leaders in your community. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah, and it's that's coming. That stuff is coming as the need arises. It will be met with leadership. Always, everywhere in evolving intelligence, wherever it is to be found in the universe, in matriarchal systems of this beautiful galaxy that we live in, the Isis galaxy, the Milky Way, otherwise known as, when people adhere to that system, there is a system of meritocracy. The wisest of the women, the mothers of the clan, would choose the wisest in the community of the men to do the things that men do better than women. And always the let's call it the controlling, no, that's not a good word, but the administrative energy comes from the women, matriarchy in the community, you see. And so, and only meritorious souls are ones that are placed as, you see, when the Westerners came to the Americas and they found all those chiefs with their beautiful feathered plumed headdresses on, these were chiefs that were put in place by the women. These were the wisest of the men in their clan. And they were to lead all the other boys, and the boys would be instructed by them. Well, the white man came and turned that around, you know, with their patriarchy and their upside-down pyramid, with boys at the top and a lot of persecuted women at the bottom. And that was the model that they brought and destroyed the old matriarchal system that was once on this planet, which survived down to the modern era, believe it or not. But they're still trying to snuff it out. The New World Order people, that is. But that will come back, my brother. It will come back, and we will be ready to do what we need to do. Kate and I and Sandra and Tony on this call, and like-minded people who are at the forefront with information and knowledge to help other people. We'll be there. That's what we're doing. We are here now. We will be there when the right time comes, and there will be others greater than we and lesser than we, but of the same mind as we, and we will all be there together. And the universe is preparing those ones that will take the leadership on this planet. No more will you see the likes of Bush and Clinton and these morons that have so much power. You won't see the stupid one on the platforms anymore. That day is over. That's gone. Only wise men, meritorious souls will be leading us from now on, and women. And women. It will be directed by women, because we will return to the matriarchal system, whereby we allow the intuitive woman to guide us, because their intuition is much sharper than ours. And when we're guided by them, we never fail. Never fail. That's why they say a great man always has a good woman behind him. That's why they say that, because they know it's the woman. and it's not anything to do with any kind of superiority or degrading one in contrasting the other. It's not that at all. It's putting back in place how nature really designed this universe. And it's putting that balance back in there and putting the woman back in her rightful place.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that one a little bit with regards to that. And one of the things that has been very prevalent over the last number of decades is how women in particular have been literally indoctrinated into the male aspect of going too far into that male strength role, where you see, here's the thing, things go out of balance. You know, it's when you finally get the masculine and feminine into that balance realm, what you have there is the logic and reason factored in with compassion, and really for me the true feminine heart is the one of compassion, the one that can look at someone that has been so utterly evil and can still look at them compassionately with pity and with an urge to nurture that back to to some semblance of fair play with the rest of love, right? Because it really boils down to love. And the compassionate heart, to me, is the one that does conquer all. That is the unconditional love aspect. This is not about vengeance. It's not about revenge. It's about looking at ourselves, right? This is the thing. When you start to look outside of yourself for answers, you are a fool and a buffoon, because the answers are never outside of you. They're always within you. The only thing that is an indicator outside of you are the clues that you're getting it right. You see, because when you change the world within you, what happens is the reflection of that world without starts to change as well. again, it goes back to love-hate. One of the things that people love and hate about me is my stance as a mirror. I'm looking in my mirror when I talk to people, and I want to know what I need to fix, because it's my universe I'm trying to change here. In turn, because we are all of the one, by the service to others, you are actually serving self, and by serving self, you are serving others. So it has to get into a synchronistic balance. And what Adam was saying regarding the schools and stuff, you brought up a beautiful point earlier, quite a while back actually, with regards to schools and what have you. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we actually had schools where each individual zodiac was kept together and taught what they need to know about their particular design and what their role in the zodiac is. For me, those are the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 pieces of this beautiful puzzle, that when we get all of these 12 cylinders firing together, we have ourselves a race car. And that's the only thing I'm after. So if you could, I'd really love to get your opinion on holy science schools based on zodiac teaching in terms of getting children resonant with their own frequencies, i.e. their own sine wave, and that would be awesome. And Adam, if you have another question or comment, jump in now, and we'll carry on from here. You're still going to be on the board. I'll meet, if I have another question, just ask, and you can tag me in the chat room if you have another one as well. But fire away, and then let's get some thoughts.
Thank you very much for continuing with what I was saying and supporting me. Yes, I would very much like to hear Santos elaborate on the Universal Truth School, where that can go in the near future. Anyways, I'm a little bit nervous at the present moment because I'm ecstatic about hearing you guys for the first time. Because I've learned so much, my heart has opened up so much. I remember so much from from the source from which I came. Perhaps another time when I call in, I can share with you a little bit from my life story, how I came to be here, and how, as a child, I think I'm a star child. Because any child who remembers where they come from, that source of infinite existence, has to be a star child. And when they hear...
Hey, Adam, I'm just curious as to why you feel you don't want to share it right now. So, Santa, you have the question and what have you in place. So, Adam, carry on, my friend. I'm interested to hear it. What about you guys? Tony, Sandra, Santo?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Out of respect for Santos, this is his show. I don't want to take up too much of his train of thought for tonight's show. That's why.
That's fine, brother. We would love to hear it. How long does it take? I mean, surely you can recount it in a nice little package for us. It'd be great. The listeners love stuff like this.
No, sure. I won't take longer than 5 or 7 minutes. Basically, I'm blessed that I came here under the sign of the Aquarius. That the characteristics and all the attributes that are assigned to that sign completely suit me. And the first thing that I asked my mom when I began to ask myself internally who I am was, why did she name me Adam? And her answer to that was, that's the only name they told me to give you, or that's the only name I was supposed to give you. So right away, there's an indication that I understood before I was even 1 year old where I came from. And as I grew up as a child, and I'm sure this is happening to a lot of children out there too at the present moment, and in the last couple of decades as well. Otherwise, why would we be here, and why would we be talking about truth so much and love truth so much? What happened to me, let's go back to what happened to me. All throughout my childhood, there was an inner voice inside of me asking me and recalling where does love come from? Where does that feeling that unites all of us come from? And even as a child, I knew that my mom and my dad couldn't answer that for me. So the answer I always felt must have came from somewhere else, and it did. But not before I really laid out all my cards when you play poker in front of the Almighty, and I said, listen, if you don't help me right now, I'm really going to go in the opposite direction, and I'm really going to become the opposite side of Saturnian behavior and doing. And luckily, and I was 21 years old, luckily, which is a very important age from what I found out from Santos's teachings. I believe that we have up until age 21 to really, as a person, recall and recollect where we really come from. So anyways, I go to church. My friends advised me, it was around Christmas time too, around the 24th. And I go to church, I confess, and I'm shaking with fear. Guys, I'm shaking with fear like I was shaking when I first spoke to you a few minutes ago, because my heart was pumping. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I go to the priest, and I say to him, I broke one of the 10 Commandments. And all throughout my confession, I felt fear that if God doesn't help me that night, I'm really going to go in the opposite direction, and I'm going to do very, very awful things. So anyways, during the confession, I wasn't really speaking to the priest. I was really speaking to, quote unquote, God, the infinite source. After the confession was finished, the priest leaned over, looked at me in amaze, and that very same night, I had an outer body experience. My soul was cleansed of all the guilt, all the wrong, and when I woke up, I literally felt 10 pounds lighter, and for 3 months I was in pure love ecstasy. For 3 months, without taking any entheogens, without taking any artificial drugs, without any of that. So I basically climbed my spiritual Mount Everest, and ever since then I've been coming down. But ever since then, the truth that was instilled in me reverberates in Santos's voice, in Santos's heart, in Santos's teachings, and like-minded people like himself. You too, Kate, and anyone that's listening right now who can relate. So that's it. Since then, it's just been slowly coming down the mountain and kind of deciphering this information that came from the source. And Santos is absolutely right that once you tune into that frequency, you don't have to understand all the things. You don't even have to understand 50% of what he teaches. You don't have to, because you're on that frequency now of more emotion over thought, and you all know what that means. So, anyways, that's what happened to me, and I thank you very much with all my heart for everybody's I am what I am. Please continue with what you're doing, and please search in your heart for ways to unite all of us together and figure out how we can take control over our own energy and the energy that will sustain us for the rest of our life. Because isn't it funny? I'll conclude with this. Isn't it funny that we're part of a society, a group of people that belong to roughly 20% of the population of this globe. Meanwhile, we've been sucking 80% out of the resources out of this world for a long time now. In a way, we all have a moral responsibility now to help everyone else. But it's up to us whether or not how we're going to do it. And it has absolutely nothing to do with money. It has to do with choice. And the fact that you no longer need to give away your trust to anybody, because so much trust has been given away. Okay? And that's how this whole system that basically has been tormenting us and still torments us every single day in our mind and in our, well, I hope not in our heart anymore, but in our mind every day, like Santos says, will collapse, should collapse, because so much evidence, even on my Facebook page, points to that, that it's happening and that it's here. So my heart is calling out more for unity, global spiritual unity, any kind of unity, but it has to be done right. It has to be done with a very intelligent approach. Like we cannot simply walk away from the life that we've been living up till now and abandon that overnight. We need to find a way how to bring everything together so that everybody who comes in feels like they're individual, they still have their freedom, they will have their freedom, but now they have a choice to add on to that collective freedom and unity and love. So I thank you very much from all my heart for listening, and I will wait in. Anyways, thank you very much, guys.
Adam, thank you, my friend, and always good chatting with you. Yeah, you seem to peg me just as I'm going to bed. Try to zone out and do some research. So, but always great to chat with you, my friend. So I'll put your mic on hold. If you have any other questions, just pop them into the Freedom Range chat room, and I'll be more than happy. And that applies to everybody else. I'm doing my best here to keep an eye on everything. And hey, bear with me. But thank you again, Adam. I love you. Beautiful words and beautiful wisdom. Santo, over to you.
And Adam, you are inspiring. I just wanted to say you're inspiring others. So keep up the good work, and thank you for staying on your path.
Thank you very much. I love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Adam is a very, very inspirational person. He has that Aquarian ability to inspire others. That humane center. It's always said of Aquarians that they have produced the best of the best, but of course there is always the opposite. But the best of humanitarian, exemplary individuals have come from that sign, you know. And Adam is certainly one of those people who embody that. It's beautiful. We are now fully in Aquarius. We are absolutely fully in the realm and the dominion of Uranus and Saturn. Saturn in his positive polarity, because Aquarius and Saturn can be, as I said, the very, very opposite of the best of the best. Many astrologers have pointed out that the Aquarian sign has given to humanity the best of the best and the worst of the worst. And so there's this great contrast. But in the precessional cycle, not the yearly cycle or a daily portion of Aquarius, the daily portion of Aquarius happens between 2 a.m. in the morning and 4 a.m. That's the rulership of Aquarius. It's the stillness of the night. Not much activity happening between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Probably 90% of humanity would be sleeping at that time. It's a stillness. It's a darkness. And also yearly, January's cold, you know, in February when Aquarius is ruling. It's freezing and we're waiting for the days of Lent so that the lengthening rays of the sun can bring back the spring and the summer days. So in the daily and yearly cycle, Aquarius is cold and dark. But in the reverse cycle of precession of the equinoxes, that's something else. Remember, in the tetragrammaton in the sky, Yod He Vah He, JHVH, Aquarius is an H. And that letter in the Hebrew alphabet is window. You see, so these are two windows. They are portals. Opposite is Leo. That also is an H. You see, Scorpio is the J. Aquarius is the H, Taurus is the V, and Leo is another H in the tetragrammaton in the sky, the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. And that H is what Aquarius is all about. The J has the sense of justice. Scorpio brings justice for the year. Opposite is the V of victory, the springtime, the bull. You see? So these 4 fixed signs that are now in place, Aquarius is ruling, yes, but so are the other 3. The bull, the eagle in Scorpio, and the lion in Leo. So Leo has come back, and there is a star in Leo called Regulus, which is the heart chakra, the king. And what's happened is that opposite Aquarius is Leo. So what's happened is Pisces was ruling, and opposite Pisces was Virgo. Virgo is the belly. So we were still in the belly. We were still concerned with Virgoan things. You know, putting food in your tummy, material things, basically material things, and service. We were very service-oriented. That's what Virgo's all about. But now we've been lifted up to Leo in the heart. Leo's the next sign, so up we are now in the heart chakra as a race. We can't escape it. It's upon us. The dark sorcerers and the controllers and the elites, they are now also in the new light. What are they going to do? What decisions are they going to be making now that the new light is upon us? It's like, whoops, someone's turned the light on, and all those dark things that we were getting away with, the pirate schemes and the Ponzi schemes, we can't seem to get away with it anymore. The media's on us and everybody's looking at us. So that's what Aquarius is all about. And as for the new school that will arise to answer Adam's question, well, it's here. It's called Syncretism. And I've put together, in my 21 presentations, I've put together the absolute best model for teaching children that there is. Because it's not mine. I'm just pointing to it, that it's always been there, and we need to go back to it. It's in everyone's heart. You all know it. You all will remember this wheel, this beautiful wheel of 12 30-degree segments. King Arthur's table. I just received my Arthurian tarot deck, Kate, yesterday in the mail, just after you read my cards for the first time that you've read my cards. And I looked at the Key 10 card, and guess what it's got on there? In the Rider-Waite, it's the Wheel of Life. In this tarot deck, it's called the Round Table of King Arthur. And you see a round table in the middle of the card, and it has 6 red 30-degree segments and 6 white 30-degree segments, just like a checkerboard, and that's King Arthur's table, the Zodiac. It's there. It's in our hearts. Everything is about 12 and 7 in creation. We need to go back to this school. We need to understand astrology. In this world, we are blessed because we are made of 4 elements. We are the 4 elementals. We have earth, water, air, and fire. And earth, your Capricorns, your Virgoans, and your Taurians, they are the sensual ones. This is the senses, the beautiful senses of this race of Adama, humanity. And the water people, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, these are the emotional ones. They carry the world of emotions in their souls. Then the air types, your Aquarians, your Geminians, hello Kate. Sandra, I believe you're Aquarian too, aren't you?
That is correct.
February
1st. February 1st.
Yeah, and Tony's on the cusp of Taurus and Gemini, so there's a bit of air there. And your Librans. These people are mind, mental, intellectual. They are in that range of the spectrum. Then your fire people, Arians, Leos, and Sagittarians. They are in the intuitive realm, vibration. Now, Paracelsus, 500 years ago, taught us about the nymphs and the sylphs and the pygmies and the salamanders. The salamanders were the fire people, like your Arians. Now, these are people that only experience one element. And they are people like us. And they serve us. And they would long to experience what we experience, though they are quite happy in their elements. But they persevere in their elements, and they serve us faithfully and loyally and lovingly. And they can be nasty too. But they only experience one element. And this is why we are a symphony. We are an orchestra of creation. We are the epitome of the universe's physical creation, humanity, the Adama. And Genesis tells us how special we are, for we are made in the image of the Elohim. So we're pretty special. We are a wonderful addition of creation, and we are the epitome of the intelligence of creation. And now we're standing up to embrace the divine, which is history-making. It's happened before, but on this level, on this particular 0 point that we are at, no, it has never happened like this before. So we are experiencing something quite unique in that we are self-acknowledging our divinity as our divinity unfolds and unfurls in a golden section ratio, which is closely related to the Fibonacci ratio. So let's rejoice, guys. Hallelujah. The time is here.
All right.
I'm in. Count me in.
I'm in too.
I think actually all of us are all in at this point. So, I think what's that, Tony?
So we can't get much further in, I don't think.
No, we're pretty much all in. People. I gotta say, there's a great joy in hanging out with you guys, because I know that when you didn't just dip your toe in the water to see how it was, you just jumped in and said, "To hell, let's go."
Yeah, we've got the model that Greg, our caller mentioned. We've got the model. Kate's got the lawful concerns absolutely down pat. It's taken care of. Once you expose the fraud, which is what Kate has done, with a lot of scholarship and perseverance and studiousness with the team that Kate has worked with, let us not forget that a lot of conscious beings put a lot of their time to this document, Clausula Rebis. And we've got that for the school that's coming. That's why I called my website Universal Truth School. And that's why we have synchronicity. That's why I have School of the Holy Science. These three will cover everything that the world will need. Why should we play with small subjects and small themes? Why not hit them all in one fell swoop and give people everything that is needed? Everything that is needed. We deserve it. Of course we deserve it. We are the knowing ones, and we will know everything, whether it's through these schools that we have or other schools. Doesn't matter. We are putting forth effort, and what comes to fruition from that is none of our business. Our business is to do what we have, which is our calling, to live in honour and to die in honour if we must, in these bodies, and to do everything for truth, for love, for balance, for the Creator, which we are, and bring back the good days where we once lived. We once lived in those days. Remember, for all you Led Zeppelin fans, I used to love their 1969 song, Thank You, from their second album, one of the greatest rock albums in history. And Thank You talks about where in the song Ramble On, where Robert Plant sings there about in days of old when magic filled the air. And he talks about mine's a tale that can't be told, my freedom I hold dear. How in days of old when magic filled the air, Gollum stole his loved one. I'll pull the words up on in a minute on a screen, but he is a great fan of Tolkien, of course, and those were Tolkien-esque lyrics in exquisite beauty. Please listen to the song Ramble On by Led Zeppelin, folks, and listen to the music. And the music brings you back to that day when we really, really did know bliss and joy. We weren't concerned with pleasure and pain. But we were concerned with justice and consciousness and love and truth and bliss, because that is our nature. That is our intrinsic nature. Our nature is Sat, Chit, Ananda, bliss, consciousness and existence. We have always lived, we never die, we are blissful ones, and we are conscious. That's our nature.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, why don't you guys pipe in? We haven't heard much from either of you tonight.
Yeah, I've just been, like I say, listening. It's been awesome so far, and I'm just enjoying learning from Santos and, the information. So I'm cool.
I have something to share. There was a time, when all this, all these things keep happening to us, and I'm more realizing how, we talk about how we are gods and how we have creative abilities. And I will tell you a little story that kind of proves all that. And I was at a meeting one time, and of course that was when I was in the Christianity, and we had been doing a lot of praise and worship in this meeting, so we were all fired up, and our energy was at a really high level. And we went out to eat afterwards, and my friend and I were sitting at the end of the table against a wall, and all of a sudden we felt this energy between us that was just really powerful. So the other lady that was there had her camera with us, and she snapped a shot. And she had a digital camera. So immediately right on the camera, she focused in on it and brought it in tighter on the screen. And there was this orb there in between us. And lo and behold, right in the middle of it was a Jesus, the Christian Jesus faith. Oh, my dog's going to start barking. But anyway, so what happened was I looked at that and I thought to myself, now, how could that be, And I get to thinking about all this stuff, and this woman was a Christian, and I got to thinking, how could that have gotten on that orb in that camera? And I got to thinking, she created it because that's what she believed. And actually, all of us created it because we were sitting there at the table all believing that at the time. So it just shows how creative we are. And I don't think that camera actually took that shot, other than we created it on that camera because that's what we believed. And I can go back to having met some Knights Templars and how they say, of course, the Jesus they believe in was just, he was Egyptian and very dark skin. So if that was true, how could the one that was on that orb in that camera be a very European type Jesus? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to point that out because I think we have those creative abilities.
Yeah. These are the archetypes that are there, that exist, and we tap into certain ones of them through icons and images that have been drawn up by people who see them. You see, so people see them, then they draw them, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, etc. Most of these very, very Catholic types who, Catholicism means universalism. That's what it means. So it's a good word. It's not a bad word. But these universalists, see, in Italy, you would draw the Madonna that you saw because the Italian icons and images were expressed that way. And because those people saw their archetypes in that way. So you repeat what you see. And that then in effect, in turn, perpetuates that image. But in China, the image will be different for the same archetype, but it's all the same archetype. So how dare one group deny the other group their archetypes just because they don't understand what the name Krishna means or what the name Viracocha means? Didn't mean, we had to go and destroy all those beautiful Mayan temples, and rob the Aboriginals of Australia of all of their beautiful religious traditions. They've all forgotten them now. They're all sitting there drinking Victoria Bitter, Australia's most popular beer. Bit of a shame that. Whoops.
Cheers.
We've just destroyed a whole heap of beautiful religious custom and culture and knowledge and wisdom, and we call ourselves conquistadores. Cortez's name went down in history, and Pizarro, but unfortunately they were pirates, and history will have to tell the true tale of what really happened and transpired there. But we know, true researchers know the truth. We know the truth that this is Rome's world, and it's a world of fiction. It's a kingdom of ideas, and it no longer exists and no longer serves us. The shadow of it and the remnants of it are what are existing and persisting, because we haven't perfected the art of dismantling this structure. But as we grow, we will. As the light grows and is exposing its darkness, we will dismantle the old thought paradigms that we created ourselves in darker days. So we shouldn't be judging it, really. We should be in unity language and unity talk and unity thinking, and we should just acknowledge it. It was. It just was. And everything is good and everything is bad. Saturn is good, Saturn is bad. Jehovah is good, Jehovah is bad. Most of what Hitler did was absolutely great, and he did some bad stuff. No doubt about that. But there's two sides to the coin. There always is. There always is to each individual that is intelligent. They know that, and we need to acknowledge that and embrace that, rather than creating a fictional devil, as Christianity has done, to divert people's own attention from the balance work that needs to be done within. So we are then given an excuse as to the reason for evil. It's someone else. It's the devil. He's dressed in red. He looks like this. There's the description of him. And there he is on the most wanted billboard. And let's throw darts at him. No. The evil is within us. And it's the dualistic nature that we have that we need to bring into balance. And once everybody starts to know that and take care of that field of duality within their own souls, then there will be balance on this planet, and there won't be things like banksters, the Club of Rome, the trilateralists, and all of those nasty words.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you said that, because this is the point. What they've done is taken everything we need to address and need to look at, and they've demonized it. and they've turned it into this big thing that you can't look at, you don't want to go there, don't talk about that, don't go anywhere near this, blah, 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 which has prevented us from looking at the very thing that we need to address.
It's called accountability. We each have to be accountable for our own lives, and help as many people as we can, but we still have to be accountable for ourselves.
Well, responsibility begins at home, right? So if your own house isn't in order, i.e. your heart, in conjunction with your mind, those two beautiful things, until you get that in order, don't look outside of yourself and expect anyone else to. Unfortunately, when your own house, as in mine, isn't in order, all you will see when you look out is everything in disarray and drama and all the rest of it. So the more peace you can find within, the more centered you can become, and realizing the truth of the fact of what Santo has been saying is that you are good and you are evil. Get them into balance, confront that which is within you that needs to be confronted, good and evil. And, lighten up, guys. Stop taking yourself so seriously. That's just, this is where the drama comes in, and this is where the wrong aspects, as I see them, of ego come in and creates a belligerent situation. Get yourself sorted out. This is what I'm trying to do, and I guess, hey, Santo, my ascendant is in Leo as well. I'm kind of curious as to where Mars is placed with me. I believe it's in my sign for that, so it'll probably explain a lot of that drive from frustration and anger and what have you.
Kate, your moon is in Leo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Your ascendant is pretty much on the cusp of Cancer and Gemini, so you're pretty much a double Gemini, really. Your ascendant is really close to Gemini, but it's in Cancer, right where Virgo and your North Node is. That's pretty telling. Your first house is Cancer, and you have Venus there right on the ascendant. So you really got that Venetian. You're all about Venus, and your North Node right on the ascendant. My goodness, that's just powerful. But Leo's your moon.
Okay, and in a broader sense, I was intrigued by your comments with Mars being in your Leo kind of thing, or the ascendant when you said it earlier, and I was trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm ascendant Leo. I wonder. So that's why I brought it up.
Well, you've got Mars in Taurus, and next to Mars is Jupiter in Taurus. So that's your voice. There's Jupiter and there's action in your voice. This has to do with your cerebellum. So you've got the two boys in there, you see. You've got the two, Jupiter is the greater benefic and Mars is the lesser malefic. But they are both very, very action-oriented planets. So there's a lot of energy in your voice. And it's in the 10th house, which is your house of... Jupiter is in your 10th house, Mars is in your 11th house. So that's the sort of friends you're looking for too, action friends. You're inviting Mars-type... Well, that's why you probably get along with me, because I'm Aryan and ruled by Mars. But having Mars in your 11th house tells... And Mercury is also there in your 11th house. So you're looking for intellectual and action friends. But Jupiter is in the 10th house, which is bringing you great honours, glories and distinction and all the Jupiterian, jovial, magnificent things at the end of life or at the end of days. So these are your wreaths that you will carry. Jupiter will be there in the 10th house to bestow wreaths of honor and everything. But the point is that I'm getting at is that it's in your throat too. So it's in your voice. That's where your singing has come in. In your life. That's how this is how glorious astrology is, friends. Friends, you can see everything in your birth chart. When I walk down the street and I look at people, I can see how much Saturn is dominating their chart. I can see how much Sun is dominating their chart and where the Sun is in their body. If they are Virgoans, I will see the Sun energy focused in their belly. I'll feel it. If they are Arian, I will see their heads on fire. If they are Taurian, I will see their necks and their mouths, just glowing at me and speaking and something there in the neck. If they are Geminians, the glow will be in their lungs. It will be in their arms. Their hands will be very important to them, the twins. And you'll see that their hands, everything, your focus will be on their hands. When you're talking to a Geminian, their hands are just always in the way. And so, and this is how you can see where the Sun is. I can see where Mars is. I can see their element, how much Earth they have in their chart, whether they have a lot of activity going on in Capricorn or whether they're Virgoan. Folks, this is the clairvoyance that you will have. But please get on the path of astrology. Know thyself, know this science, and deepen your wisdom in this science, because you will have intuition beyond your years. I've got so much information to share about astrology. I've got a series coming up of presentations that I'm going to do, which I'm starting to prepare, and one of the series will be Bible astrology. This is going to be I'm going to be busting some big stuff. So get to know it. We've sort of diverted from the information that I was trying to get at, but it's tangent to it anyway. But the thing is, what we were talking about, Kate, my Leo ascendant. Why did we go there? The elementals. Yeah. So we have all the four elements. We have this great temple, the Temple of Solomon, soul of man, and we carry it. It's a galaxy of, we call them atoms, trillions and trillions of atoms. All they are is electrically charged waves. That's all it is. And they are magnetic. They receive the thoughts of universal mind thinking. So what receives these thoughts is the hydrogen, mostly the inert gases. They carry the memory of who we are. That's why we are made up of those gases. We need all the elements. Mother Earth is very kind in how she has granted us the elements that the sun has produced with its seed, with its seeds. We are made from seeds from the sun. Everything that you see is a seed of idea, of creator mind thinking, which comes from the center of our solar system, the sun. But Mother Earth gives us this coat, this body that we carry around, and all these elements are there. And these elements, we call elements. Walter Russell called them just motion, pure motion. These record the universal mind thinking. So we are images of those thoughts. You see, but we are also creating, you see, because we have fire in our bodies. No matter how much our charts, regardless of what they are made up of, there will always be fire in our charts. Because all the elements carry fire. Fire is water carries fire, and so does earth. Earth carries all the four elements. So earth people are mostly blessed, your Capricorns and your Virgoans and your Taurians, because they've got all the elements more solidly in their structure, in their constitution. but the element, like yourself, they can only serve in the fire element, and they can only be loyal in that element. This is why is the epitome of the Creator's created forms, because it partakes of all of the worlds: the solid, the liquid, the gaseous, and the radiant. So rejoice in that, friends. Rejoice in the beautiful intelligence that we can embrace. Once we go into the stillness, it's all there waiting for us within. In the stillness that we are. We are bodies. Just as the song cannot boast how beautiful it is without giving credit to the silence whence it came. Every song is beautiful, but the song will not be as glorious as its originator, the silence. So we shall not, be vain in these lives that we experience and give, the credit to ourselves and to only the song we are, but we give credit to the Creator, the stillness, from where we come from the knowledge that, from the knowing mind, the still knowing mind that we are. So, mind, it's not. It is the active mind. That's the one that is partaking in this play. So we should not only give credit to it, but we should give credit to the originator of these beautiful thoughts, the still knowing mind that we are.
Oh, you're not getting an argument from me.
Nor me.
That's the problem with our radio shows, right? Is there's generally not much debate going on when truths present themselves. They're like I say, and I don't say it. This is fact. They're self-evident. They'll show themselves, and it's only when you get into those, the middle waters between Scylla and Charybdis that you will find that calm balance where you can get into that position to see the truth. While you're, too far on one side or too far on the other, you're going to miss the boat.
Yeah. We agree, because we're tapping into the universal mind knowing, and you can learn about universal mind knowing by, in my presentations I teach universal mind thinking, because the graph teaches universal mind thinking. It expresses universal mind thinking, the sine wave. And what it says, all universal wisdom... Wait a minute. Let's get the quote. I now refer to The Secret of Light by Walter Russell. I opened the first pages of the book, and in the introduction, this is the subheading or the caption of the whole book, the motto of the whole book, I guess. The wave. In the wave lies the secret of creation. That's it. That's what he said. In the wave lies the secret of creation. That's about as enigmatic as Tesla's 369. He said the answer to everything in the universe is in the numbers 369. Well, Walter Russell says it's in the wave. What I'm presenting is the wave and the numbers. But the numbers I'm using, it's true that there are only 9 numbers. But the universe sees them as 12, because 3 of those numbers are transitional. And I've explained that in Syncretism. So, you can throw them in or you can leave them out, but the motor still works without them. There are 9 numbers. So I looked at this as universal mind thinking. But through universal mind thinking is the only access to universal mind knowing. And that's what we are. That is our true nature. And that is what the controllers are trying to deprive us from. Now, our objective is to grow in consciousness and grow in community so that we can all share in universal mind knowing, and then there will never be arguments. We will never have arguments as long as we stay in that mode. If we want to if one of us wants to bring too much attention to our song, well, then there's going to be some discord amongst us, because what will happen then is one's ego will say, "Hey, I have a better song than yours, and listen to my song, and I'm going to play my guitar all the time over yours because mine's better than yours." But there's nothing that is better than any other song. They are all beautiful songs, but those songs must give glory to the silence that originated them, the cause. The effect is beautiful, but it's the effect. And so, as the caller Adam mentioned, this school is already in place. It's the school that was, and it's back. It's not new. There's nothing under the sun, So all these guys that want so much attention. Look what I've invented. Look what I've found. Discovered this. Look at me. I've got a niece. She's a Leo, and can't speak very well. She's only about a couple of years old. She's not really good with speaking, but she always says, "Look at me, look at me." Everywhere she goes, this little Leo, she's beautiful. It's Sonia's daughter, my niece, who does all my graphics for my presentations, India. And me, look at me. So children want, look at me, look at me. But yes, we are beautiful. We're beautiful. We're all beautiful. I'm beautiful. You're beautiful. Every listener, everybody's beautiful. We're all beautiful. But the beauty that comes from this, or where this comes from, is from the good. And the good is the one. The beauty is the two. Beauty comes from good. Plotinus explained this. And good comes from the cerebrum. The beautiful comes from the cerebellum. In fact, the word bellum means beautiful, bello. And another expression. This is why in Italian we say bello, because it's bale, and it's the cerebellum, the Taurian bull brain. And this is why the cow is so beautiful and sacred in theology. The Hindus loved the cow. The Egyptians loved the cow, Hathor. There were many deities that were called Hathor, or the cow deity. It's telling us about science. It's telling us that our cerebellum, our human brain, our man brain, because the cerebrum is the God brain, we have this dualistic binary nature. We have God in us and we have man in us. We have macrocosm and we have the microcosm. Man is the measure of the universe. We have the lower mind and the higher mind. The only problem with that is that the ones who deny the higher to live in the lower are committing what's called sin. And they are resisting the unity of mankind. They're into unification, and they're not into unity, which is, they use these words to deceive us from the lower mind, from the higher mind, which knows all these things. We know, and we tap into knowing, and to tap into knowing is to go into the stillness, and to go into the stillness you have to turn the TV off and all those other distractions. So the more we ignore the corporate world and all the morons and buffoons that believe in it, the more we ignore it, the more they will go away. They absolutely will go away. This is why Clinton a year ago was so not stressed. She said that we're losing the war on through information, and she was frustrated at reporters and the media, because the media was supposed to keep the illusion ship tight, not leaking. Well, it's leaking noticeably, and Hillary's not very happy about that. Of course, it's leaking. That's the nature of light. Sorry, Hillary. I mean, you're she's looking rather grimaced lately, isn't she? She's got a lot of furrows on that head. She might want to put some, I don't know. She might want to come to the light and get rid of the furrows.
Start drinking her wee and she'll be fine. Before I forget, just wanted you to mention you have you're on with Scott later on American Freedom Radio.
Yeah, got on in an hour's time. It's going to be a show and a half, and then tomorrow will be Jordan Maxwell for the second time, and tune into that one, because I'm really going to try and get some new information out of Jordan, because we've got a lot of stuff on him, and we've been blessed with a lot of great eye-opening and consciousness-expanding material from Jordan Maxwell, and he's a figure now in terms of he's been around for 50 years teaching this stuff, and let's give him some due respect and see what else he's got for us. I'm going to try and pry a little deep, and more than the superficial information, because he's a gem and he knows a lot. Because of knowing what he knows, I guess, as you have too, and that's you as in plural, everybody.
I have a word, a meaning for a word that I kind of like the way it sounds, and that's the word sin. Sin is just missing the mark. It's not a bad thing. It's just you just miss the mark. You just got to get it right.
Yeah, which is the second last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is, well, when it comes to alphabets, you're either the first or the last. All those middle letters, they're just nobodies. The alpha, the omega, the A, Z. So to come in last is not so honourable for Shin, and that's why it's associated with sin. Folks, it's nothing bad. There's nothing bad in unity thinking. It doesn't exist. It does duality thinking. If you really, really want to dwell down there, so be it. I can't do anything about that. I like talking in unity talk.
Yeah.
And also, sinister comes from left brain, the sinister brain, and when you, as Bill Donahue so beautifully explained to the world in the last 40 or 50 years, also along with Jordan Maxwell, that if you're living in the left brain and everything is rational and logical rather than intuitive, well then you're a moron and you deserve to stay in your sinister ways. And corpus is the Red Sea that to the right sphere, the intuitive sphere. So when you cross the Red Sea, you are saved when you go to the right hemisphere and you balance the two. That's the corpus callosum, folks. It's the Red Sea that the children of Israel cross to get into the promised land. So once you balance the two, you won't be living in sin. So that's what sin is. It's an unbalance. It's missing the mark. It's all those things. Guilt should be associated with it. If you're living in guilt, you're living in the past, and the wolf is going to get you.
Right. And I want to say something too. I'm so different than the three of you. I'm intuitive. I'm a healer. I do a lot of different things than you guys do. But I want to say it's really cool to be on a path that brings us all to unity. And even though we're so different, we're all one. And it's so beautiful. And I love this. And I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, we all rock.
Absolutely.
Rock.
Couldn't agree more. And you know, the toughest part is actually trying to convince people that they're amazing. You know, you walk up to someone and say, you know, ye are God. And they look at you like you got two heads. So, you know, that's how bad it's gotten where we, of the creator, as one, you know, how can you doubt that you'd be any less than that? You know, I mean, we all have our shared opinions of what we consider creator to be. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. For me, creation is you, as a part of me from a different perspective. The all spark broken up into countless, infinite little sparks. And I quite enjoy bumping into all the other little sparks out there and watch them as they grow into bigger flames to rejoin with the all spark again.
I like that. I like that explanation. That's cool.
Very accurate.
Well, just an intuitive. Go ahead, Santo. And careful with your mic. You have been cutting in and out. What do you call it? Gating sound. So you might be a little close to your mic.
Right. Thank you. And you're going to pop in tomorrow with Jordan Maxwell too.
Oh, I'd be honored. I'd love to sit in, and who knows? I might have a couple of things to tweak. I just want to hear Jordan go off. This is what I'm looking forward to, because when he does, he can flow out the information.
Yeah, we need to let him get into his zone. You know,
Absolutely.
And that's why I did say what I said at the start of this show today. I've got a style of interviewing. I don't like interrupting people. I just don't like doing that. I've had interviews where people have interviewed me and they're constantly oh yes, or interrupt with a thought that is just not conducive to anything I'm saying, and it's annoying. And so, because there are guys out there who are interviewing and they get great guests, but they stuff up the interviews all the time because they just questions are awful. And so I'd with my guests, I'd rather say to them, look, just talk, just share with us, go into the zone, share with us all the best stuff you've got, and just talk. I don't want to ask you any questions. That's how I like to do my shows when I get guests on. So any questions I insert are really, really just necessary. Just I have to ask them because I've been asked to ask them, or I personally want those answered. But apart from that, let them get in the zone.
Oh, yeah.
Best way to go.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the whole thing. And speaking from the musician perspective, and I know you'll get this, when you just get into that zone, beautiful music comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's beautiful what we have. We have a bunch of knowledge that goes forever. We can always be learning. We've got music. We've got astrology. We've got beautiful legends and gospels and great works of metaphysical science that teach us about astrology and theology. We've got so many varieties of humanity and foods. This is exquisite. It's an exquisite existence, and we've been naughty for a long time in that we've participated in works of darkness. for the last couple of thousand years and suffered immensely as a consequence. And the signs on the planet that indicate this would be all the wars that are going on, the famines, creepy sort of things that should never exist. And so we need to be reminded of all the good things we have. We have all these beautiful things that remind us of our divinity. Music is one of those great things. Sacred geometry. Tarot. Kabbalah. There's a guy, what's his name, Marcel Vogel, is that his name? He makes the special crystals based on the Kabbalistic tree.
I'm not sure. The name does sound familiar. Tony might have the answer to that.
Yeah, Marcel Vogel. He makes his crystals. He saw an image in his younger days of the Kabbalistic tree. Knew nothing. Again, this harks back to the archetypes. We will see archetypes. We will see crosses. We will see swastikas. We will see Jesus. We will have these visions. That's why they're there, because they come from there. They come from visions. They come from trans-dimensional, reality. That's why we have the symbols. That's what they're doing. And so it harks the archetypes, and so Vogel, he saw the 10 spheres of the Kabbalistic tree, and his crystals are all designed in that shape, and he has proven that they are more healing than any other crystals. You don't just get crystals. And, of course, he acknowledges that crystals have a lot of power in their vibration, but he has magnified that vibration by using the Kabbalistic shape for crystals, tenfold, hundredfold, thousandfold. I don't know what figure he puts on it, but he's magnified it. And his crystals are much more healing than any other crystals.
Wow. Definitely have to look into that. So we got a minute and a half left here, Santos. You wanted to wrap up?
Yeah, sure. All right, folks, thanks for listening. Thank you, and please spread the word. Get on to your friends that have got keen insight and good hearts and who may appreciate the wisdom. Let them know that we're on air, that the show is on, and spread the word, because the community is growing faster by the day. We are here. We are the ones we've been waiting for. So all we need to do is spread the word and build these communities in unity. And stay tuned for Scott Onstott at American Freedom Radio. Folks, thanks.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to mention it. So, and again, thanks to everyone who tuned in tonight to Syncretism to listen to the always magnanimous Santos Bonacci. And, of course, his ragtag crew of, whoever's, right? Anyway, thank you so much, Sandy, for popping in, and Tony, and all you guys for listening out there. And another wonderful evening shared, Santos. My gratitude knows no bounds in that regard. I count myself blessed to be able to sit in on so many wonderful shows with so many wonderful people. And I'll leave it at that. So much love, and don't forget, check out www.synchronicity.com. We got some stuff coming at you. Much love to all. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.